The life and times of the chosen. So, is it plausible for the body of Jesus Christ to be somewhere besides Egypt or Jerusalem or Israel? I think it is. And is it plausible that it could be in America? Is it plausible? I'm going to prove to you that it's very plausible that Jesus Christ's body was moved to America before it was America. And I'm going to attempt to show you that it's very plausible that they went through the Pacific Ocean to get here. It's plausible that Solomon went to like the Washington State area, Puget Sound area, to obtain cedar trees, traded with the natives here. It's very plausible because of what Cook and Rainier, those two explorers that sailed into Puget Sound, what they noted in their journals. They noted huge cedar stumps that they saw that had been cut. They're pretty rotten. They're old. And they had asked the local Indians here about that. Indians said they had no clue. They didn't harvest trees. Not like that. But it says in the Bible that Solomon got his cedars from Bashan in Lebanon. Well, Bashan Island is in the Puget Sound, so it's plausible. And it's plausible because I do believe that the way the currents act in the Pacific, they would get here within a couple weeks. It wouldn't, not much fighting to do there. Not like the Atlantic, where you're taking months of just fighting it, you know. Christopher Columbus really used his head. He's had time on his hands. So, if it's plausible that Solomon got his cedar trees from Washington area, then it's plausible that to say that Jesus Christ's body was put here also. And so the plausibility, I already know the answers. But if I tell you I know the answers, you're not going to listen and you're not going to believe me. So let me take you through some evidence. Well, for one, there's a kind of a prophecy, but kind of a quote saying that Chief Self from Seattle tribe, Chief Self says that his ancestors made a pact with the white man. If they could bury their God here, that in the end time they would send a prophet from the town of Slaughter, where the rivers run red with blood. That sounds pretty cryptic. Sounds kind of scary. All right, no. Well, he says that the white man's God must be angry with him, for he still hasn't sent this prophet. Well, that was back in the 1850s, 1860s. Well, it might have took another 100 years or so for that prophet to get here, but it got here. And I can say that I am from the town of Slaughter, where the rivers run red with blood. Oh, it's not called Slaughter now, and and the rivers aren't running red with blood anymore. But there's a town called Auburn that used to be called Slaughter, after a man named Slaughter. Well, there's also, that's unrelated, there's a slaughterhouse on the Green River in Auburn. In the 60s, they used to dump the blood in the river. And for about 3 hours a day, the river turned bright red. Prophecy fulfilled. Not too cryptic, not too evil, just how things are. It's weird how you can put such crazy death-like and apocalyptic thoughts to what was said prior to me explaining it. So here I am in the town of Slaughter. And I know I'm the guy, because I know I'm chosen, and I know that the Spirit's been upon me since 1994, well over 28 years. And I know the person that had it longer than me was John the Baptist, who was born with it. And we'll get into that one later. What's today? Today is like November 26th, 27th of 2023. 2023, right? 2022. Oh, 23. All right. Anyway, I've been saying this stuff for years. Well, some of it. It was downloaded in 1994, and I went to go search and hunt and find everything to make it true because, like the rest of everybody else, I kind of believed maybe I was crazy because they wanted me to believe that. Oh boy. But all the downloads, I seem to be able to find everything I need. It's all here. It's all in black and white. Everything I know, even though it was a twinkling of an eye that I knew it, I was able to find everything. Well, there's some things that still need to be located. So, let's go. Plausibility. Plausible Jesus Christ's body was in Washington State. Very plausible. Because not only did Chief Self say that about his ancestors making that pact with white men, so they could bury their God here, the Seattle PI covers a story. I'm not sure the exact date. In the 1860s, we get the paper. I mean, we'll give you the exact date. The loggers here found a tomb in Seattle, Skid Road. They were sliding logs down, broke it open, and they found a mummy that was in a fetal position, and its brains had been pulled through the nose. It was a mummy, and it was taken to the local Indians, and they were asked about it, and they said they didn't know. It wasn't one of their chiefs, wasn't theirs. They never did anything like that. They didn't mummify bodies, but Hebrews and Egyptians did, just like that. Anyway, so the Indians denying that it was theirs, they gave it to the loggers. They let the loggers have it, and the loggers, well, they sold it to a private collector for beer money. They judged it to be about 300 years old, and that was that. Now, I know this to be the body of Jesus Christ, but that's plausible, right? But I know what it is. I know where they found it, right? But I don't know exactly where it is today. I do know that it was in a private collection. Pretty simple. I'm sure there's a mile of paperwork behind a lot of mummies like that. It's still kicking around. Trust and believe. So that one's solved and done. Except for now, how are we gonna have people believe that the body of Jesus was in Washington State? I mean, come on. Wasn't he put in a tomb over there in Israel? No. I'm going to make it very, very clear and plausible that he probably wasn't. We're going to go back to the death and burial of Jesus Christ. All right. It says that Pilat gave the body to Joseph. Actually, it says Joseph made a deal with Pilat to get the body way early. And so Joseph takes the body to where, basically an infirmary or wherever it is that they do the work on corpses. Remember those wicker baskets that they used to burn Christians in? I think he put him in one of those, snuck him out. That's why he was in a fetal position. The mummy they found was in a fetal position. Now, Joseph took 100 pounds of frankincense and myrrh, dried herbs, very expensive, very good smelling. to prepare Jesus' body. I do believe you only need about 3 pounds probably to fill the chest cavity, as Jewish custom calls for. But he uses about 2 hay bales worth. You know, 2 hay bales, 100 pounds of frankincense and myrrh. Well, anyway, after they get this so-called body of Jesus wrapped up, I'm not saying that they actually took the body of Jesus to the tomb. I'm saying on the contrary. He never left going that way. He never left going the direction of that tomb. I'm saying this. I'm saying that they wrapped up the 100 pounds of frankincense and myrrh to look like a mummy, to a body, and sent it off. Big old parade. Women crying, people screaming. There was good, bad, and the ugly. People drinking, selling wares, you name it. People betting that he would come out. People bet he won't come out in 3 days. Well, so they put him in the tomb, sealed it up. Well, almost 3 days later, a little early, the women were caught sneaking out of the tomb about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I say caught, and I know they weren't prepared to get caught. But anyway, they were carrying 3 big baskets of herbs. And when they get caught, they tell the disciples that they had come early to prepare Jesus' body as is custom for Jewish burial. Bullshit. Joseph already did it. It was about 97 pounds too much. So anyway, they split these girls up like deers in the headlights. What do we do now? That's just my little way of putting some sort of comedy into this. Because they've deceived the whole world. It shouldn't be funny at all. So they split them up. And everybody gives a story. Because, you know, when you on a scene of a crime, usually the police come and split everybody up. Accidents, whatever. And they get the story from everybody. But, you know, they go back and forth. You know, the police usually do it. This time all the disciples kind of just picked one and were talking to them. Well, you can really tell that the women were not prepared to get caught because they did not have a pat lie down for what they're going to say. All 4 of the Gospels say something 100% different than the next. We're going to get into that. Now, when Peter looked into the tomb, what did he see exactly? Now, this is an eyewitness testimony. Peter looking into the tomb. Everybody's watching. Looks in the tomb, and he sees the wrapping. Where did the 100 pounds of frankincense and myrrh go? Was it that valuable that zombie Jesus just scooped it up and said, whoa, these are very valuable. I better take these with me. And then take off running super fast? Remember, the women said that, well, we'll get to that. Because they were seen coming out of the tomb, but Jesus wasn't. Where'd he go? If they had just seen him and he'd risen, where'd he go? Jesus was a strong dude, fast runner. If he could pick up all those herbs and take off that quick, the disciples didn't see him. I'm thinking that the 3 big baskets of herbs that the women were carrying out on their shoulders were the exact herbs. They were. But not one preacher has ever, since the Bible has been preached and churches have been built, not one has ever said anything about this discrepancies or why, or wanted to dig into it. Because there's reasons why. You know, I'm going to tell you about synchronicities, signs and synchronicities, metaphorically speaking, blah, blah, blah. I'm the seal breaker. There's songs about me. Ozzy Osbourne said, who shall we get on the case? Calling Perry Mason again. So I'm known as Perry Mason. Dorothy. Well, there's many prophetic songs for me. Um, the book of Revelations, boy, God gave me a new name, just like it promises there in Revelations, and we're going to get to that. But still working on this mystery. They say working on a mystery without any clues. There's tons of them. And you're looking at a high school dropout, ADHD, couldn't read very well at all. But yet, I have a PhD in this damn subject, let me tell you. And I'm self-taught, led by the Spirit. So, my next video I give you, I'm going to take you through all four of the Gospels on the death and burial of Jesus Christ. Right now, I have to look at the book, open it up, waste a bunch of your time, my time. Just know that the next video, I will have this information straight up for you, exactly what each one said, exactly how different they are, and why hasn't anybody ever pointed this out. Oh, I've got a lot more stuff to show you. A lot more. You've been lied to and deceived. They don't want you to get what's coming. And let me tell you this. This is where I'm sitting, New Jerusalem. Where the body of Jesus was found, New Jerusalem. Lewis and Clark were not wrong. They came up through Washington looking for the Northwest Passage to the Promised Land. They stopped up in British Columbia and came back, kind of bewildered. It just wasn't their time. But it's funny. Washington, B.C., Washington, British Columbia. Has a nice ring to it. Anyway, keep on keeping on. Stay safe. Peace be with you. And to the children that are in the Promised Land and going to live in the Promised Land, I greet you. God calls me Onan Roy.